Even as opposition MPs tear copies of G. Ramji bill, the bill was passed in the Lok Sabha. Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan tears into the opposition, slams opposition's conduct in the parliament, says reforms needed to make policy efficient. Pollution debate stalled in the parliament as the House is adjourned till tomorrow. We choke, but pollution is a non-issue for MPs. CNN News 18 has accessed Election Commission data indicating a high number of voters with inconsistent records concentrated in 3 border districts of Bengal, with Murshidabad reporting the highest count. In his first rally in Tamil Nadu since the Karur stampede, Vijay storms AIADMK turf with a mega show of strength in Erode, launches blistering attack on DMK, accusing it of making false promises. Karnataka Assembly passes the contentious hate speech bill amid strong protests by the BJP, which termed the bill draconian. Key features include provision for 10-year jail term for hate speech. After Ethiopia, Prime Minister Modi honoured with Oman's highest civilian honour, the Order of Oman. India and Oman inked historic free trade agreement during Prime Minister's visit, marking Muscat's first FTA in 17 years after it entered into a similar deal with the United States, deal to propel ties and expand trade in non-oil sectors. Ousted former Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina speaks exclusively to Network 18, accuses interim Prime Minister Mohammad Yunus of seeking proximity with Pakistan, appreciates India's patience even as ties deteriorate. The ongoing diplomatic row between India and Bangladesh is now escalating. India has announced the closure of the Indian Visa Application Centre in Dhaka. A group of protesters marched towards the Indian High Commission in Dhaka's Gulshan area as well. The protests followed threats against Indian diplomats, prompting India to summon Bangladesh's envoy. Fresh anti-India protests have taken place in Dhaka as well. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 also spoke exclusively with Sheikh Hasina, who has slammed Mohammad Yunus of trying to embrace Pakistan while alienating India. She has lauded India's patience. Let's try and quickly go across to Zaka. Zaka, as you also give us a sense of the kind of protests that are taking place, also do shed light on what explains the sudden ratcheting up of the anti-India rhetoric and sentiment in Bangladesh.
Well, it's been building since, Sheikh Hasina was ousted last year on the 5th of August. And then ever since Mohammad Yunus took over as the interim administrator, clearly there is a degree of orchestration to all of this. I mean, remember, this is the Vijay Divas week. This was the day that, Bangladesh got liberated on the 16th of December. In that same week, for the last 3 days now, Akanksha, there have been protests outside the Indian High Commission. Now, clearly there are these vested interests. There are certain political parties, some of the elements in the students' movement that ousted Sheikh Hasina. All of these people have come together, and the interim administration has sort of given its go-ahead. It's certainly looking the other way for all of these protests for the last 3 days that have happened right outside the Indian High Commission. In fact, yesterday they were barely a kilometer away, where the barricade sort of stopped them from reaching the premises of the High Commission itself. Today also, they were cut off a short distance away from the High Commission. But clearly, this is being orchestrated. It is to try and send a message, not just to India, to the neighborhood, but also domestically, that look, the current narrative, the current political establishment in Bangladesh doesn't owe anything to India. They also want to be seen as on the opposite side of the political spectrum as Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina always looked out for India's interests for the 15 years that she was in power from 2010 onwards. She didn't do anything inimical to India's interests. But look at the actions that have been taken by the interim administration of Mohammad Yunus in the last few days, last few weeks. Him presenting a picture of Greater Bangladesh, which includes the 7 sisters, the northeastern states, to visiting dignitaries like the Pakistani army general who went there. That was an open provocation. Then you have, these naval boats, these small naval boats ramming off the coast of Bengal. I believe there was one incident where even one person died. All of these are provocations that you've not seen when Sheikh Hasina was in power. So clearly, I think this is orchestrated by the political establishment in Bangladesh. And also remember, elections are due.
Yes.
Elections are coming up in February and March. So there are political parties who will play the anti-India card to ensure that they find some kind of electoral success.
So it's interesting you highlight the anti-India card being played for political gains as well. Not only has Mohammad Yunus highlighted how he's looking towards the northeastern states, which are also referred to as the Seven Sisters, but we are also seeing BNP and various politicians make extremely controversial remarks of late. Critics of the Mohammad Yunus regime are saying that this ought to have a direct bearing on the elections, which many are saying are only going to be a facade, given that the referendum will also be taking place on the same day.
Yeah, so look, I mean, amongst the political parties who are going to be contesting, clearly the BNP is going to be the important political party to watch out for. Now, India's had a bit of a rough history with the BNP. Remember, the last time Khaleda Zia was in power, along with the Jamaat-e-Islami, there was a lot of problems in the bilateral relationship, not least, giving safe haven to terror groups like Alpha. That was a big problem that India had to contend with prior to 2010. And then after Sheikh Hasina came to power, there was great cooperation between India and Bangladesh, particularly in rooting out some of these terror groups that operate in the northeast. I suspect if the BNP wins, which a lot of people suspect that they will, with or without the support of either the Jamaat-e-Islami or even the newly formed Students' Party, then, India will have to sort of rework on that bilateral relationship. Remember, the Prime Minister put out a tweet a few weeks ago where he sort of expressed concern about the deteriorating health situation of Khaleda Zia. I think Tariq Rahman, her son, sort of responded to that on social media. So I think there is backroom definitely happening, back channels definitely happening to try and reach out to the BNP. Look, the Awami League is barred from contesting. So Sheikh Hasina's party, the largest party in Bangladesh, is barred from contesting. So clearly, India needs to sort of rebuild some of the political capital with the political opposition currently, which may likely come to power once the elections happen next year. But again, there's also the question, as you said, of the referendum. So the referendum could itself be a way for Mohammad Yunus to continue to stay on in power. That's the speculation, at least politically in Bangladesh, whether or not he will give up power post-February, March when the elections conclude. Again, that still is an open question. So as long as he is at the helm and as long as the politics of Bangladesh has shifted, significantly to the anti-India side, I think India will find challenges in the near neighborhood, particularly on the Bangladesh side.
When you're talking about the challenges, Zaka, ever since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, what is currently happening, apart from the démarche that has been issued to Dhaka, we are also seeing that the Indian visa application in Dhaka was also shut for a day. Is this the lowest ebb of the diplomatic relations between Dhaka and New Delhi?
Well, like I said, before 2010, the last time the BNP was in power and it was in a coalition government with the Jamaat-e-Islami, things were not particularly good, particularly on the safe haven and the sanctuaries that were given to some of these terror groups, notably Alpha, but some elements of the NSCN, some factions of the NSCN were housed there as well. It was a problem. It was a problem for the 5 years that this coalition of the BNP and the Jamaat-e-Islami were in power. But India sort of worked around that situation. And obviously, once Hasina came to power in 2010, then it became much easier. She really took a proactive role in weeding out some of these anti-India elements. See, there's also a problem where clearly Mr. Yunus is also playing to the Chinese notebook here. You remember he went to Beijing a few months ago, and there he made a speech where he said basically the Seven Sisters or the 7 northeastern states are landlocked and Bangladesh is the only sort of point of connectivity and so on and so forth. So all of those were trying to, stoke anti-India sentiment in Bangladesh and also to convey to the Indian establishment that, look, you're going to have an inimical sort of political dispensation in Bangladesh. There's also this unresolved question of Hasina's own future. I mean, how long does India continue to house her as a guest of the state?
True.
I think that's a question that sooner than later, perhaps maybe after the elections, India will have to also take a call on.
Stay with me, Zaka. As you spoke of Sheikh Hasina and the refuge she is currently seeking in India, former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has mounted a scathing attack on the interim chief advisor Mohammad Yunus. She's accused him of steering the country towards instability and even seeking political legitimacy through closer engagement with Pakistan. In a News 18 exclusive interview, Hasina has alleged that Yunus lacks both the democratic mandate and the diplomatic experience required to conduct foreign policy, claiming his outreach to Pakistan reflects desperation rather than strategic vision. She also praised India's patience, calling India a friend and not just a strategic partner. Let me quickly take that forward with Zaka, who continues to stay with us. So Zaka, taking that point forward, as you said, that much of the roadblock, so to say, between New Delhi and Dhaka currently rests on Sheikh Hasina and her presence here in India. Even though she continues to highlight all of these, say, shortfalls currently under the Yunus regime, how much of that is going to have an impact in the current sort of status quo?
Look, I think what India will have to do, and this is what Indian diplomats have been doing as well, while on the one hand being firm and saying that, look, all of these orchestrated anti-India demonstrations, etc., and playing to the galleries, playing to a certain, political dispensation, which clearly is bent upon projecting itself as anti-India and inimical to India's interests. While on the one hand, those domestic political compulsions will continue, I think India is making it clear that, look, you have to rein in all of these anti-India elements that are operational right now in Bangladesh. To whatever new dispensation comes to power, we don't know what that dispensation would be. Would the BNP be part of it? Would the Jamaat-e-Islami be part of it? Would the New Students Party be part of it? Which political dispensation eventually comes to power in Dhaka? They will have to work with New Delhi. At the end of the day, India is the biggest power in this region. There is no way that Bangladesh can, continue to be inimical to India's interests. There's also, for all practical purposes, there's a lot of cross-border movement of people, although in the last year or so since Hasina's ouster, that has come down. But even through the SIR exercise that's been going on in West Bengal, there are now reports of a lot of people crossing the border, moving back to Bangladesh, so on and so forth. So there are various interests that are sort of enmeshed between Dhaka and Delhi.
Right.
And at some point, Dhaka will have to realize, whichever political dispensation comes to power there, will have to realize there is no, it's a mug's game. It's a zero-sum game to try and, always be positioning itself as an anti-India sort of dispensation.
Stay with me, Zaka. We're getting in more breaking inputs. In fact, as we speak, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs, chaired by Shashi Tharoor, has tabled a report in the Parliament, this on India-Bangladesh relations. The committee has cited non-governmental testimony saying current situation in Bangladesh is India's biggest strategic challenge since 1971, and the decline of Awami League dominance, the rise of youth-led nationalism, return of Islamist forces, and growing influence of China and Pakistan flagged as key concerns in this report. The government of India is not providing any political platform or political space to Sheikh Hasina from Indian territory is also what has been maintained in the report. In fact, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that India has made every effort to insulate bilateral ties from impact of recent political developments in Bangladesh. But the committee, interestingly, has also questioned why India failed to anticipate the political crisis despite the media reports. Let's quickly take this forward with Siddhant, who brings us those breaking inputs. Siddhant, if you can shed more light on those key critical takeaways of the report at the moment, and a very important question being raised over there in terms of why did India fail to anticipate the current situation?
Well, that's right, Akanksha. In fact, we have managed to access this report, which has been tabled today in the Parliament, and the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs, chaired by Shashi Tharoor, tables report in Parliament on India-Bangladesh relations. Now, committee cites non-governmental testimony, says current situation in Bangladesh is India's biggest strategic challenge since 1971. Report notes challenge is no longer existential, but deeper and long-term, driven by political transition and strategic realignment. Decline of Awami League dominance, rise of youth-led nationalism, return of Islamist forces, and growing influence of China and Pakistan flagged as key concerns. Foreign Secretary tells committee Sheikh is issuing statements through her personal communication devices. Government of India not providing any political platform or political space to Sheikh Hasina from Indian territory. India does not allow its territory to be used for political activities against any third country. In fact, 2 days back, Akanksha, there was a statement also from Ministry of External Affairs, in which India rejected the assertion made by the Yunus government and said very clearly that India will never allow its territory to be used for anti-Bangladesh activity. And same has been reiterated in this report. Now, India continues. Report also says that India continues engagement with the interim government and supports aspirations of the people of Bangladesh. Committee questions why India failed to anticipate the political crisis despite media reports. Government says development in Bangladesh are being monitored on a priority basis. January 7 election, Awami League, then the elections and the political scenarios have been explained in the report. So perhaps the biggest takeaway from this report so far, Kanksha, what we could manage to gather is that this is for the first time that this report says that the current situation in Bangladesh and strain in ties between India and Bangladesh is perhaps the biggest strategic challenge on the eastern borders since 1971.
And we're happy to see that already, Siddhant, given the current situation and the kind of protests that are taking place, and they don't seem to be calming down, apart from the fact that the Indian authorities have issued a day march. Even the visa center in Dhaka was shut for a day. How is India now going to take this entire challenge forward? Is there any engagement? What are you learning from your sources within the ministry?
Well, Akanksha, there are multiple groups which have issued threat to Indian diplomats and Indian diplomatic mission, and this is not through some pamphlets or some WhatsApp channels, but this has been done openly, standing at a public place. Provocative speeches were made yesterday and today. Yesterday they were made in Dhaka outside the Indian High Commission. Today they were made in Rajshahi. And you know, those slogans are provocative, anti-India in nature. And perhaps this is a concern for the Indian government. So right now, Indian government is concerned for the security of its diplomats. Yesterday, India did raise these issues with the High Commissioner of Bangladesh. Demarche was issued. In fact, today, Akanksha, the security arrangements were done properly by the government there, the local authorities. But these threat still continues, and India is definitely concerned for the safety and security of its mission in Bangladesh.
All right, many thanks to you, Siddhant, for bringing us all those latest inputs on that news story. This is also a developing situation, as Siddhant has been highlighting. Greater threat now for Indian officials, the diplomats as well, but Indian authorities leaving no stone unturned to give adequate protection as well. We'll have to see how this now moves forward diplomatically. But with that, shifting focus over to the other big story, that is air pollution. The Lok Sabha was expected to take up a crucial debate on India's toxic air crisis, but the discussion has been pushed aside yet again. A showdown over the Viksit Bharat Guarantee Bill triggered loud protests, even sloganeering, and repeated adjournments in the parliament. That forced the House to drop the pollution debate for now. But Congress MP Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was slated to open the discussion. But with parliament gridlock, the country continues to choke while leaders continue to bicker. So as the air quality worsens across northern India, the question remains, when will the right to breathe become a priority for the country? Listen in to some voices.
पर आज जब मतलब जवाब मांगने का टाइम था सरकार से, पोल्यूशन पर डिबेट ही नहीं हुआ। क्या हुआ आखिर?
डिबेट कहाँ, इन्हें करनी नहीं डिबेट। ये हाउस एडजर्न कर दिया इन्होंने। हम सारे बैठे हुए थे, पूरी हमारी पार्टी बैठी थी, हाउस एडजर्न कर दिया।
बट ये तो ऑपोजिशन पे इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी सीरियस नहीं थी, राहुल गांधी यहाँ नहीं थे, आप लोग सीरियस नहीं थे।
प्रधानमंत्री तो बाहर इंडिया गेट पे बैठे थे ना, वो तो उपवास कर रहे थे इंडिया गेट पे बैठ के। हर बात राहुल गांधी से सवाल होता है। राहुल गांधी प्रधानमंत्री है, प्रधानमंत्री बनाओ राहुल गांधी को, देंगे जवाब। इनकी जवाबदेही नहीं है, ये प्रधानमंत्री हैं।
कांग्रेस चाहती थी पोल्यूशन पे डिबेट हो, और
हम चाहते थे, पहले दिन से चाहते थे, लगातार हम बोल रहे हैं इनको करना नहीं है ना, दिक्कत ये करना नहीं है इनको।
If the government wanted to have a discussion, we were very open for the discussion. We are ready to participate. The protest started inside and outside the parliament. When the MNREGA, the soul of the MNREGA was murdered, we mentioned not just about Mahatma Ji's removing his name, but apart from that, a demand-driven program is now at the mercy of a government, which cannot be accepted. And the financial burden and responsibility the state governments is going to have is going to be quite huge, will spoil the program. So our protest was on, but we were ready for the discussion. Honorable Srimati Priyanka Gandhi was ready for the discussion. She prepared her speech. She was inside the parliament. She was present in the last moment. But unfortunately, the government didn't want. They were showing a vendetta towards the India Alliance and towards Congress. That is the reason.
So the
entire house ran. They passed the bill, and after passing the bill, they actually adjourned the house, which is quite unfortunate. We wanted the discussion on pollution, but we will keep the band on. Again, even if in the next session, we will keep this alive.
All right. right, Pallavi continues to track all the latest developments for us. She's also there on the broadcast. So, Pallavi, as you heard, what the opposition is maintaining is that the bill was passed and yet the discussion did not take place. That to a day after the Supreme Court clearly stated that pollution is now becoming an annual problem, one that also requires practical solutions.
Well, both the sides are blaming each other. If you listen to the government says that we wanted a discussion on pollution, but this is something which is a prerogative of the Speaker. The Speaker was extremely unhappy with the way the papers were hurled and flung when the Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan was replying to the entire debate on the new G bill. And they said, this gives us an indication that the opposition would not allow the House to run. We wanted the tempers to be down. And that is the reason why we decided to adjourn the House for the rest of the day. And tomorrow is another day. As of now, officially, no clarity has come in, Akansha, if on the last day of Parliament, there is going to be a discussion on pollution. We were earlier told by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, it's not really possible because the timeline is over. But if we listen to the opposition's version, theirs is that, so what if we had flung the papers post-lunch, when in any case the scheduled time was to take place at 2 p.m., the government could have easily allowed the discussion to resume and we would have cooperated on it. So you're seeing what is happening. At the end of the day, what you and I are feeling about the air doesn't seem to be making a difference inside the parliament. The netas have done their bit. They are blaming each other. We have entered the end of the winter session without any discussion on pollution.
All right. Stay with me, Pallavi. Let's also listen into some reactions that have come in. Let's listen into what Shivraj Singh Chauhan had to say. Remember, he also addressed a press conference today where he spoke in defense of the G bill. He also attacked the opposition for tearing up the bill. He said that this is not the kind of behavior which should be displayed by, say, MPs, that too in the sanctum sanctorum of what is the heart of Indian democracy. Let's listen in.
पार्लियामेंट में, लोकसभा में विपक्षी मित्रों ने, कांग्रेस और इंडी ब्लॉक के सांसदों ने जो आचरण किया, उसने लोकतंत्र को कलंकित किया है। मैंने आग्रह किया कि मैं आपके एक एक प्रश्न का उत्तर दूंगा, लेकिन मुझे सुना जाए। कागज फाड़ के उछाले गए, आसंदी के सामने टेबलों पे चढ़ गए। क्या ये बापू जी के आदर्शों की हत्या नहीं है?
Father of the nation, NGNREGA program in the name of Gandhiji. Now the bill came, Gandhiji's name won't be there. I cannot blame anybody except me because I belong to this country. So we have started this scheme, Karmosri. This scheme's name will be changed, Mahatmaji schemes. There also we give 75 days to 100 days job. If you don't give respect to Mahatmaji, we will give respect. We know how to give respect to Mahatmaji.
All right, remember, the winter session of the parliament is now nearing its end, and this is what the opposition is saying, that there's barely any time left for a discussion on air pollution. Whether it will take place or not is the big question that remains. But for now, here on Nation at 5, we're slipping into a quick break. Stay tuned.
Many things have changed in the last 20 years, but our partnership with you only got stronger.
Political parties.
RTI enabled India's right to know.
System needs to become more transparent.
We saw terrorism's deadliest face.
This is a terror attack on Mumbai.
Visuals that will haunt Mumbai.
A crisis that plunged the nation in panic.
We are faced with a global slowdown.
We saw India becoming cricket champs after 28 years. The nation chose a strong new leader.
Narendra Damodar Das Modi.
Indian Army. India attacking terror on enemy soil.
Special forces crept behind enemy lines.
An invisible threat brought the nation to a standstill.
Not a single soul out here.
A space flight that filled every Indian with pride.
It's a very special lift off.
Well, only the
India taking its place among global leaders.
One Earth, one family, one future.
Time ticked on. The headlines kept changing, but we stood with you with the same energy, the same resolve. Celebrating 20 years of CNN News 18 makes sense. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're now getting some breaking news, learning of a showdown over the MGNREGA rebranding, and that continues in the parliament as opposition MPs were seen tearing copies of that bill. The bill was passed in the Lok Sabha, however. So the entire showdown as far as the G Ramji bill is concerned was seen in the Sansad, and many of the opposition MPs were seen tearing the copies of the G Ramji bill, and that continues even as the bill gets passed in the Lok Sabha. So this is what we are learning. These are the details emerging from the parliament. There you see those shots where the images of the bill being torn off and thrown in the air has also emerged from the Lok Sabha, and that showdown over the rebranding of this MGNREGA bill continues. Remember, the main charge by the opposition is that this is toying with the legacy of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. They are saying that attempts are being made to erase Mahatma Gandhi from history books because this is one of the flagship schemes under the Mahatma Gandhi name that was there, and that now stands changed with the passage of this particular bill that is now being rebranded and called the G Ramji bill. And this is what the showdown is all about. The opposition has been crying foul. They also, in fact, went on to equate Mahatma Gandhi with Ram, as Mahatma Gandhi, after he was shot, he uttered "Hey Ram." That was his last words that have been famously in fact spoken about. And the attempt that is being made by the centre, that is the accusation that's coming in from the opposition, is to alienate Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Ram. So that continues in the parliament. Dramatic scenes have emerged from the lower house as the renaming of the MGNREGA bill has entered into this very, very volatile phase, where you also saw many of the opposition members tearing the copy of the G Ramji bill, while in fact the bill was being discussed in the Lok Sabha. My colleague Arunima is with us on the broadcast, and Pallavi also joins us on the broadcast now. Arunima, coming to you first. A lot of furor emerging even as the bill gets passed in the Lok Sabha.
Yes, it was a very long discussion last night. Went in till late into 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. Speakers were still, telling the chair that they wanted to speak on this matter, and that's what Om Birla, Speaker, said today, that I allowed everyone to have their say. We had a very long discussion. Now you must listen to the minister, but that did not go down well with the opposition at all. Throughout the minister's reply, they were in the well of the house. We're also showing on our screen how papers were flung towards the minister. The minister, in fact, had changed his chair as well, speaking from the third row so that the opposition's antics were not caught on camera. Yet they continued throwing papers, flinging them towards the minister. He took a dig at Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. She had said, "Ye jo naam badalne ki sanak hai." The fact that the name was being changed and Mahatma Gandhi's name was now no longer part of the new act. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had referred to that. Shivraj Singh Chauhan said, "Sanak hame nahi, sanak aapko hai. Ek parivar ka mahima mandan aap karte hain." So you insist on only the Nehru Gandhi's parivar's name in every bill. That's not what we are doing. And that impasse continued, and amidst that impasse, we finally see the bill getting passed by Lok Sabha.
Right, and Pallavi, this mention that Shivraj Singh Chauhan really meant, and he had in fact responded to Priyanka Gandhi. Arunima was just mentioning about this, Pallavi. I'd like your inputs on this. Now, in fact, the high drama, the dramatic scenes that emerged from the Lok Sabha will only continue and spill outside of the parliament. We have seen how the opposition MPs have been protesting against this particular bill and the rebranding.
Well, if that question is for me,
yes.
I mean, we've seen, I remember the bill was first created really when the UPA was in power. It was under the National Advisory Council, powered by Sonia Gandhi, which is why I think that's the reason why the Congress party has its heart set on MGNREGA. But even in the battleground state of Bengal, Griha, the MGNREGA or the new bill has become one of the points between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress, where the TMC is accusing the central government of snatching the rights and the money as far as the wage earners are concerned, which is why it was almost unprecedented to see almost at the fag end of the winter session, the entire opposition coming together. The Trinamool Congress, Congress Party, DMK, all of them were marching and speaking in one voice as far as the opposition to a bill was concerned. But the lead was clearly taken by the Congress, and for very obvious reasons, because after all, they see that Sonia Gandhi's bill. There was a little awkward moment, I would say, for the Congress to make up its mind. That is because the BJP was playing on the word that the bill is called Ji Ram Ji, and you have an opposition to Ram. Well, that is a rebuttal which has come in from the Congress party. They are objecting to it on two grounds. One, you are wiping out the legacy and the contribution of the Mahatma. And second, of course, is that the main provisions of this new bill is actually reducing the money as far as the wage earners are concerned. But that point-by-point rebuttal has come in from the very emotive response which came in from the minister concerned, which is Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Everyone watching this is going to be asking us, why are you making us wait? So can we have a few lyrics already? Can we have a little bit of singing? Give us some Fasla moments here. Recreate that for us.
So it's like دوس دوس يا اخي خوش فصله يا اخي تفوز والله خوش رقصه يا اخي دوس عندي خوش فصله تفوز والله خوش رقصه عندي لك رقصه قويه يا الحبيب اسمها صبوحه خطبها نصيب مديدك شنو بتعطيها كف وهز كتفك حيل خليك شديد عطني رقصه الفريسه زيد عليها شوي عندي بيزه حق المحتار اللي نعرفه سيده مسوي لي رقصه انا هيبه عايز اسوي لي رقصه بياع.
Lovely. Flip, you've given us so many moments. You have no idea how this song is doing on the internet. You possibly do. You've possibly not been able to reply to everyone. But truly, it's been beautiful watching the success of this song and the film as well. Not many understand the song. They're yet glued to it. That's the beauty of it. But the song, actually, the first release took place sometime in 2024, if I'm not wrong. Dhurandhar took it to unimaginable heights.
True.
How
was
that 1 year journey for you before the song reached where it's reached today because of the film? Did you see that kind of response before the film?
Yes, it was. Fasla had a great impact, and we had numbers clocking on TikTok, like great numbers. But when it reached to India, it had it had blasted the threshold. It went viral. It had a lot of love and support. I did not expect this. So to me, seeing this, don't get me wrong, the song had a nice impact, but with the Indian community, they just took it to another level.
Flip, a lot of people are wondering, and this goes for Outlaw as well. There's a story there to your names. A story that not many people are aware of or familiar with. Would both of you want to share it with us? Flip is actually Hussam Asim. So how did you come up with Flipper Ashe?
I came up. I had a Busta Rhymes was my favorite artist, a hip hop artist. So he had a group called the Flip Mode Squad. So being as a child, I always wanted to be like a part of his group. So I called myself Flip at first. Okay. But then it started like, evolving. So then one day DJ Outlaw just called me Flipper Ache. Come on, let's continue recording. And then I'm like, okay.
So he's given you the name.
So DJ Outlaw gave me the name. Like he is the one who officiated it. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Remember Ranveer Singh's oops moment at IFFI 2025's closing ceremony? The one where he had mimicked the sacred ritual from Kantara movie? Well, finally, actor director Rishabh Shetty has responded to the entire controversy that had followed their brief interaction. Speaking at a Behind Woods event in Chennai, Rishabh Shetty addressed the discomfort he feels when the sacred Daya traditions from Kantara are reenacted or performed casually on stage. Without taking names, the filmmaker said such moments make him uneasy, explaining that while Kantara is cinema, the Deva element is deeply spiritual and emotionally rooted in his culture. He revealed that he personally requests people not to perform or mock these rituals publicly, adding that repeated instances continue to affect him deeply. For the unversed, the controversy traces back to this year's edition of the International Film Festival of India that took place in Goa, wherein Ranveer Singh, while praising Kantara, had mimicked Deva during the public interaction with Rishabh Shetty. The gesture was repeated on stage, even after Rishabh subtly expressed discomfort. The clip quickly went viral, triggering criticism online, with many calling the act insensitive and disrespectful to a sacred tradition rather than a cinematic performance. Following the backlash, Ranveer Singh had addressed the issue on Instagram. He had clarified that his intention was never to mock, but to applaud Rishabh Shetty's performance. Calling it an actor-to-actor moment, Ranveer had said he deeply admires the effort and emotional depth required to perform that scene. He had also issued a public apology, stating that he respects every culture, tradition, and belief and never meant to hurt sentiments.
All right, let's shift focus over to Goa. The probe into the Goa fire tragedy has intensified, with CNN News 18 exclusively accessing findings of the Magisterial Committee investigation. Investigations are yet to conclusively establish the cause of this inferno. While initial findings suggest the fire may have been triggered by a fire show, the probe has revealed conflicting possibilities that includes a potential short circuit in electrical systems above the mainstay. Top Goa police sources have told CNN News 18 that the Luthra brothers were fully aware they were running the operation illegally and knowingly put lives at risk. Investigators say the brothers continue to remain evasive during questioning. Police sources have also claimed that every few hours they complain of pain in the back, chest or legs, despite medical legal certificates showing no such ailments. But more importantly, the focus now from Luthra brothers is also shifting over to the larger systemic lapses that have now come to the forefront after this fire tragedy that took place on December 6th. As far as Birch by Romeo Lane is concerned, remember this was operating as a nightclub, also indicating or bringing to the forefront serious lapses like the way nightclubs continue to operate rampantly, this when they are illegal in Goa. But as far as the questioning of the Luthra brothers is concerned, let's quickly go across to Anshul Singh, who's joining us live from Goa with more details. Anshul, reports indicating, in fact, CNN News 18 is also learning that the Luthra brothers are being extremely evasive. But what has been the line of questioning so far of the Goa police?
Questioning at this point in time continues to remain as to what was the reason because of which they decided to flee from the country. Were they actually tipped off that the Goa police is looking out for them, and that is the reason why they decided to leave the country just minutes after the fire incident happened? They did not even wait for the fire to get doused. So it is at that point that they decided to leave. Post this, what top sources within the Goa police have confirmed to CNN News 18 that while they were in Thailand as well, the Goa police had contacted them several times, asking them to come back to India and join into the investigation. But that was also something that was not taken absolutely seriously by the Luthra brothers, and they continue to maintain that they will not be able to come back to India anyhow. And now, finally, after they have been arrested, there is very little remorse that is being shown by them at this point in time. They are trying to be evasive to the questions that are being asked by the Goa police at this point, because they know this fact that the Goa police has a maximum custody of just 14 days. And these 14 days are going to be very, very crucial, because if they do not give the right answers to the Goa police, then the entire investigation could hamper itself, and probably it will help them in their in their defense. So it is seeming like that the Luthra brothers actually know the law very, very well, and they are trying to do away. They are trying to use these small loopholes. For example, complaining about their bad health. Remember, over the last 48 hours itself, there has been at least 4 medical legal checkups that has happened of all these of both the accused, and nothing significant has come out. But they continue to claim that either they have a backache, they have a headache, their chest pain, or their legs are hurting. So all these unfounded claims are being made by them, which is clearly indicating that they're trying to be evasive from the law yet again, even after they have been arrested by the Goa police.
This question of evading the law is not just rising right now. It happened right from the moment they scooted and flee the country. Because remember, it was the intent which was being questioned first, Anshul, and now that also is going to be put to question in terms of how could they leave the country so quickly, that 2 hours after the inferno.
Well, definitely the intent is something that needs to be, that is rightly being questioned, because remember, the people who lost their lives in this entire incident, out of the 25 people, 20 were staff of the Luthra brothers itself. And when his staff died, even after that, there was very little or no action that was taken against them. There is absolutely no remorse that can be seen on their faces. They are still trying to evade the laws. They are still trying to do away with the questions that are being posed in front of them by the police. Remember, there are several loopholes that has come out in this entire investigation regarding the manner in which the licenses from several departments were actually given to the Luthra brothers. In fact, what top sources have confirmed to CNN News 18 that several of the documents that they used to get those licenses were also forged. So the forging was happening on different levels. Now, something else that is being looked at by the Goa police as well, that who were the people who were involved in giving them these licenses, were the panchayats panchayats over here in Goa who were actually responsible for giving these licenses. Were they in some sort of a quid pro quo condition with them? What some benefits were being given to these panchayats as well? All this is now being investigated, and this is the line of questioning that is being done with the Luthra brothers. But they know that at this point in time, the Goa police has the custody of just the next 5 days. And now, once that 5-day custody ends on the 22nd of December, then the Goa police will yet again try to get further custody of these accused. And they are very, very clear that the time being that they are in the custody of police, the lesser they answer, the better it will be for their case.
All right. Many thanks to you for bringing us all those latest inputs, Anshul. And with that, we quickly shift focus over to the other big story that we've been tracking. This is a CNN News 18 exclusive input by Security Affairs Editor Manoj Gupta on the Bondi Beach attack probe. Indian agencies are all set to join the Sydney investigation into the Bondi shooter Sajid Akram. This after sources reveal that he visited India 3 to 4 years ago to meet his mother. A joint team of state police and central intelligence agencies is likely to be sent to Australia to assist the local authorities. The probe will focus on the shooter's ideological leanings, possible online or extremist radicalization, and any links to a possible global Islamist network. Investigators are examining whether the attack was driven by organized anti-Jewish hatred or lone wolf radicalization influenced by international propaganda. Indian agencies are also checking digital footprints, financial trails, travel details, and any possible contacts, sympathizers, or sleeper networks in India. We will, in fact, continue to bring you more inputs on that. But as of now, what we can tell you is that you can expect officers, not just from the state level, but also central agency officers to be assisting the Australian investigation, which will be going on. Remember, it was in 1998 that Sajid Akram actually immigrated to Australia. He was very much on an Indian passport. There has been a lot of information that has been gathered from the cops in Telangana, and so it is important that his visit to India, which happened 3 to 4 years ago, is also probed into. They will be studying what was the purpose behind this visit. All the points of contact that were made by Sajid Akram during that visit will also be studied. Why is this so crucial? Is because Sajid Akram had in fact lost touch with his family members. We are also being told that in fact when his father passed away, Sajid Akram did not even visit the country. But remember, Sajid Akram is the father of Naveed Akram. He was also shot dead during the Bondi Beach attack. Let's quickly go across to some breaking inputs coming in. Maharashtra Minister Manikra Khokate has resigned, is what we are being told. This comes after a court upheld his conviction in a 3-decade-old housing scam case. The resignation has been sent to Deputy Chief Minister and Party Supremo Ajit Pawar. A police team from Nasik have already left for Mumbai to take the minister in custody. Kokate made headlines earlier this year after being found playing rummy on his mobile phone in the state assembly. And so what we can tell you is that Manikrao Kokate has finally resigned. This also comes after a court upheld his conviction in the 3-decade-old housing scam case. So one big resignation coming forward now as far as the housing scam case is concerned. Let's quickly go across to Mayuresh, who will bring us the latest inputs on that news story. Mayuresh, we are being told that a police team from Nasik has already left for Mumbai. Take us through the latest that you're learning.
Absolutely. The police team from Nasik has already left for Mumbai to arrest Manikrao Kokate, who's a MLA, and who has just now, we can officially say that, put down his paper as a minister, because till yesterday he had only, his portfolios were only given to Ajit Pawar, but he was still cabinet minister. But now Ajit Pawar had written a letter to the government of Maharashtra, and even the copy was sent to the governor, in which Ajit Pawar clearly stated that due to the case and the verdict which the court has given, Manikrao Kokate has resigned as a cabinet minister and also as a guardian minister. So any time now we are expecting that the Nasik police will try to catch him and try to basically arrest him as per the court's order.
All right. In fact, also take us through what are the charges against him, because remember, this is a 3-decade-old scam that we are looking at, the housing scam. If you can take us through what were the charges slapped against him.
Absolutely, it's a 3-decade-old housing scam in which basically allegation against Manikrao Kokate is that he used a forged paper, he used a forged documents to get the scheme basically of this housing scheme. So that was the charge, and this case was pending since last 15-20 years. But just recently, 2 days back, the Nasik High Court didn't give any kind of relief to Manikrao Kokate in this case, and they've instructed the Nasik local police to arrest him. But what we are learning that even Manikrao Kokate has approached the High Court, so there is a chance that he may get a kind of a relief at least from the arrest till the time High Court listens to his plea.
All right, many thanks to you for bringing us all those latest inputs on that news story. Shifting focus now. Moving towards CNN News 18's mega exclusive, the Indian spy thriller Dhurandhar has ignited a storm across Pakistan. This because massive torrents and piracy links are flooding the internet, with dark web experts even generating access from Sri Lanka, Nepal, Malaysia and Chinese websites. Pakistan's ISI and ISPR linked social media accounts are circulating mini clips to mock India, while activists accuse the film of defaming the late Benazir Bhutto and portraying Karachi's Lahri as a dystopian war zone. Despite bans, Dhurandhar has already crossed the 1 million illegal downloads in its first week, costing producers an estimated 50 to 70 crore rupees in overseas revenue. That's a big breaking input that we are bringing to you. In fact, let's quickly shift focus now over to Tamil actor turned politician Vijay, who's addressed a public rally in Tamil Nadu's Erode today. This was his first rally in Tamil Nadu and second big event since the September 27 Karur stampede. Last week, TVK chief Vijay addressed a public rally in Puducherry, where also a large crowd gathered despite the initial permission of a gathering of just 5,000 people. While addressing the massive gathering today, Vijay lashed out at the Stalin government as well. He also said that the smear campaign by vested interests will not succeed. And so, as you can see, after Puducherry, it is Erode, and he's yet again attacked the DMK in Erode, and it does seem like Vijay is now back in full form and in his element after the stampede tragedy in Karur, because the gathering still seems to be attracting the masses, as we were highlighting to you that even this public rally in Erode was completely flopped. This was his first rally in Tamil Nadu and second big event since the September 27 Karur stampede. Last week, TVK chief Vijay had addressed Puducherry public rally. There also a large crowd had gathered, and there was in fact the initial permission only of a gathering of just 5,000 people. Let's quickly go across to Purnima. Purnima, even though there is this war of words we've seen break out between Vijay and DMK, but any word coming in from the DMK with regards to these rallies and the kind of gathering that they are attracting despite the initial permission, say, of 5,000 and they exceed?
Well, DMK now hits out at Vijay because Vijay had earlier called the DMK an quote-unquote evil force. The DMK now hits back and says that TDK is the party that's responsible for the 41 deaths that took place in Karur, and said it's a murder party. So war of words between the DMK and the TDK has only escalated. But today, even the district administration and police ensured that crowd management was a priority. After the venue was full, people were made to wait outside. Extra people were not allowed inside. So 1,000 police officers were deployed at the venue, and they ensured that there was no overcrowding in the first place. Even TVK had 300 volunteers. They also ensured that everybody was given water bottles and caps because it was a sunny day in Erode. So they have learnt the lessons, at least from the Puducherry rally and the Erode rally that we've seen.
Many thanks to you, Purnima, for bringing us all those latest inputs. Quickly shifting focus over to Karnataka, as the Legislative Assembly has passed the Hate Speech and Hate Crimes Prevention Bill 2025 amid strong protests by the opposition, leading to repeated disruptions in the House. Explaining the provisions of the Hate Speech and Hate Crimes Prevention Bill 2025, the Karnataka Home Minister has said the law would regulate individuals or organizations spreading hatred through speeches, books, or even electronic media. Let's quickly go across to Afreen Hussain, who brings us more political details on that news story. Afreen, we've seen how BJP MPs and the MLAs have taken objection to this entire passage of the bill. What are the objections that they've put forward?
Well, Akansha, let me tell you that we saw in the footage a very chaotic assembly session when the hate speech bill was passed. We saw the leader of opposition, R. Ashoka, tear up the bill and throw it. These were some of the scenes that the Legislative Assembly witnessed today when the hate speech bill was passed. Now, the opposition, both BJP and JDS, claim that this particular bill is brought by the Congress government to silence them, to muzzle out free speech. Now, this is the allegation that they have put forward. They say that this particular bill targets both the BJP and JDS as well as affiliated organizations like the RSS. Now, these parties is what the BJP claims, and also it says that there is absolutely no need for the Congress government to bring a bill like this after 75 years of democracy. It's going to give power to the police and other authorities in the state. It's going to make them it's going to become a dictatorship of sorts, is what the BJP has claimed.
Many thanks to you, Afreen, for bringing us all those latest inputs. Let's now shift focus. Vantara founder Anant Ambani hosted global football icon Lionel Messi at the Wildfire Rescue Rehabilitation and Conservation Centre, marking a special visit that blended tradition with conservation science. During his time at Vantara, Messi was even guided. He was given guided tours of the facility, closely observed rescued wildlife, and interacted with caregivers and conservation teams as well. In keeping with Vantara's ethos rooted in Sanatan Dharma, the football legend also took part in traditional Hindu rituals that reflect reverence for nature and all living beings. The visit highlighted Vantara's commitment to animal welfare through a modern, science-driven approach, while underscoring values of humility, compassion and humanitarianism associated with Messi worldwide. I leave you with these heartwarming visuals. Thank you so much for watching Nation at 5.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're now getting some breaking news, learning of a showdown over the MGNREGA rebranding, and that continues in the parliament as opposition MPs were seen tearing copies of that bill. The bill was passed in the Lok Sabha, however. So the entire showdown as far as the Ramji bill is concerned was seen in the Sansad, and many of the opposition MPs were seen tearing the copies of the Ramji bill, and that continues even as the bill gets passed in the Lok Sabha. So this is what we are learning. These are the details emerging from the parliament. There you see those shots where the images of the bill being torn off and thrown in the air has also emerged from the Lok Sabha. And that showdown over the rebranding of this MGNREGA bill continues. Remember, the main charge by the opposition is that this is toying with the legacy of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. They are saying that attempts are being made to erase Mahatma Gandhi from history books because this is one of the flagship schemes under the Mahatma Gandhi name that was there, and that now stands changed with the passage of this particular bill that is now being rebranded and called the G Ramji bill. And this is what the showdown is all about. The opposition has been crying foul. They also, in fact, went on to equate Mahatma Gandhi with Ram, as Mahatma Gandhi, after he was shot, he uttered "Hey Ram." That was his last words that have been famously in fact spoken about. And the attempt that is being made by the centre, that is the accusation that's coming in from the opposition, is to alienate Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Ram. So that continues in the parliament. Dramatic scenes have emerged from the lower house as the renaming of the MGNREGA bill has entered into this very, very volatile phase, where you also saw many of the opposition members tearing the copy of the G Ramji bill, while in fact the bill was being discussed in the Lok Sabha. My colleague Arunima is with us on the broadcast, and Pallavi also joins us on the broadcast now. Arunima, coming to you first. A lot of furor emerging even as the bill gets passed in the Lok Sabha.
Yes, it was a very long discussion last night. Went in till late into 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. Speakers were still, telling the chair that they wanted to speak on this matter. And that's what Om Birla, Speaker, said today, that I allowed everyone to have their say. We had a very long discussion. Now you must listen to the minister. But that did not go down well with the opposition at all. Throughout the minister's reply, they were in the well of the house. We're also showing on our screen how papers were flung towards the minister. The minister, in fact, had changed his chair as well, speaking from the third row so that the opposition's antics were not caught on camera. Yet they continued throwing papers, flinging them towards the minister. He took a dig at Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. She had said, "Ye jo naam badalne ki sanak hai." The fact that the name was being changed and Mahatma Gandhi's name was now no longer part of the new act, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had referred to that. Shivraj Singh Chauhan said, "Sanak hame nahi, sanak aapko hai. Ek parivar ka mahima mandan aap karte hain. So you insist on only the Nehru Gandhi's parivar's name in every bill. That's not what we are doing." And that impasse continued, and amidst that impasse, we finally see the bill getting passed by Lok Sabha.
Right, and Pallavi, this mention that Shivraj Singh Chauhan really meant, and he had in fact responded to Priyanka Gandhi. Arunima was just mentioning about this, Pallavi. I'd like your inputs on this. Now, in fact, the high drama, the dramatic scenes that emerged from the Lok Sabha will only continue and spill outside of the parliament. We have seen how the opposition MPs have been protesting against this particular bill and the rebranding.
Well, if that question is for me,
yes.
I mean, we've seen, I remember the bill was first created really when the UPA was in power. It was under the National Advisory Council, powered by Sonia Gandhi, which is why I think that's the reason why the Congress party has its heart set on MGNREGA. But even in the battleground state of Bengal, Griha, the MGNREGA or the new bill has become one of the points between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress, where the TMC is accusing the central government of snatching the rights and the money as far as the wage earners are concerned, which is why it was almost unprecedented to see almost at the fag end of the winter session, the entire opposition coming together. The Trinamool Congress, Congress Party, DMK, all of them were marching and speaking in one voice as far as the opposition to the bill was concerned. But the lead was clearly taken by the Congress, and for very obvious reasons, because after all, they see that Sonia Gandhi's bill. There was a little awkward moment, I would say, for the Congress to make up its mind. That is because the BJP was playing on the word that the bill is called G Ram Ji, and you have an opposition to Ram. Well, that is a rebuttal which has come in from the Congress party. They are objecting to it on two grounds. One, you are wiping out the legacy and the contribution of the Mahatma. And second, of course, is that the main provisions of this new bill is actually reducing the money as far as the wage earners are concerned. But that point-by-point rebuttal has come in from the very emotive response which came in from the minister concerned, which is Shivraj Singh Chauhan, and of course the rest of the BJP speakers.
Right, do stay on with us, Pallavi and Arunima. We are now looking at this other furor in the parliament, and this is to do with the pollution and the menace that the national capital region is seeing as far as the toxic air that one is in fact forced to breathe. Now, we are learning that there is going to be no pollution debate in the Lok Sabha today and tomorrow. This is the latest detail that is emerging from both the houses of the parliament. Also, no pollution debate, particularly in the lower house of the parliament. That is what has been decided. Arunima, what has brought about this decision?
Yes, so Priyanka Gandhi Vadra just walked out of the Makar, and when we asked, because Speaker, when he adjourned the House after the G Ramji bill was passed, he said House adjourned till tomorrow, and it took most people by surprise, because the plan was that after the bill would be passed, there would be a discussion on pollution. It was something Kiran Rijiju, Parliamentary Affairs Minister, had also mentioned, that opposition wanted the discussion on pollution, but the House got adjourned. And when we asked Priyanka Gandhi Vadra what she has to say, because this is an important issue, she said, "Agle satra pe is pe discussion ho jayega," meaning the opposition also did not make a big deal about the fact that this issue, which is so central to the life of people in Delhi, people in North India, where everybody is breathing toxic air, somehow it looks like it did not find priority with our legislators, with our parliamentarians. What exactly went behind the scene? Well, Payal is learning, and Pallavi is also reporting that, the Treasury feels that the opposition was not interested. We don't really know what really happened and who did not, press or push. Yes, there was shortage of time. We're looking at the fag end of this session. Tomorrow is the last day. So was paucity of time the reason, or was there not enough, pressure being mounted by opposition? We'll have to wait and see, but it's very clear that the pollution debate is not happening.
And Pallavi, what was the reason? Has it become a matter of convenience for the opposition? First, they were going after the centre over demanding a discussion, a debate on pollution, and now...
Good evening, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. Before we get into the big debate here on Plain Speak tonight, there's some breaking news that's now coming in, a controversy, a political one at that, brewing in West Bengal. The BJP now hitting out at TMC with a viral video of TMC leader Madan Mitra, where the BJP is accusing Madan Mitra and the TMC of insulting Hindu gods and beliefs, especially his comment that he had made against Lord Ram. Is that video, which is now going viral, has armed the BJP to go after the TMC. The TMC leader, the TMC MLA Madan Mitra, had said that Lord Ram was a Muslim and not a Hindu. The BJP has now added that this is a pattern, not an isolated comment, and this goes to show the continuous abuse of India's culture and history and not merely a slip of tongue.
तृणमूल कांग्रेस के नेता मदन मित्रा ये कह रहे हैं कि प्रभु श्री राम मुसलमान हैं। ये 140 करोड़ देशवासियों का अपमान है, ये हम सब हिंदुओं का अपमान है। इससे ये स्पष्ट होता है कि तृणमूल कांग्रेस एक हिंदू विरोधी पार्टी है, जिसमें हर तृणमूल कांग्रेस का नेता हिंदुओं के खिलाफ बयान ममता बनर्जी के कहने पर कहता है। इससे ये भी स्पष्ट होता है कि प्रभु श्री राम के भव्य मंदिर बनने के बाद ममता बनर्जी और उनका तुष्टीकरण का गैंग इतना हताश और फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुका है कि अब हमारे भगवान का भी अपमान कर रहा है। इन सब से आज ये एक और बात सामने आई है कि ममता बनर्जी की पार्टी एक तरफ घुसपैठियों का समर्थन कर रही है, दूसरी तरफ प्रभु श्री राम का अपमान कर रही है। बंगाल की जनता, देश की जनता ऐसी घुसपैठिया समर्थन पार्टी को और साथ में प्रभु श्री राम का अपमान करने